nice place to see is Dead Vlei at the back of the dunes. If I take you there, I will take you on an easy walk. It is very easy to walk in the desert, but you must never walk like the guidebook tells you. The guidebook tells you to go on the ridge of a dune, and you never see an animal in the desert that goes on the ridge. That is the most difficult way. If you want to climb the dune, just go on the right hand side on the white sand, and it's an easy walk right to the top. Like that, I take you to the most beautiful place, Dead Vlei, the place that you want to see. The word Sossos I explain to you much later, but I quick explain what is a vlei. A vlei is an Afrikaans word for a place where water comes together temporarily. If the water stands there, there's a lot of groundwater and therefore a lot of vegetation. So if you would fly over this with a plane, you will only see dunes, and in the middle of the dunes, a green spot of trees, and this we call the vlei. The water that causes this vlei comes there from the big flat mountains. If you drive back, in the mountains you see white lines, and this is all lime, the very same lime laying everywhere on the floor. So if you do see white today, you can know water from the mountains was standing there previously. But it happens about once in 10 years that the floods from the mountains reach down to Sossusvlei. We had in January 97, here the biggest water that any Western person ever saw. The water came 6 times from the mountains. This place was flooded for 16 months. Then it was a very common face to stand here and you see people with windsurfers and canoes, so much water. 2000 the water came 3 times. It stood for 10 months, and 5 years back was the best rain season in 100 years in Namibia. It even rained in the desert, and this is why you see the vegetation on the dunes. Normally there are no vegetation. About 2 million years back, the river was still reaching the sea, but then the sand started to come, and today the sand filled up so much that today we are 55 kilometers away from the sea, everything only sand. But only 1,000 years back, the water still flooded in at the back of the dunes, but now for 1,000 years, that dunes totally sealed the river. At the back everything died, and that is the nice place to see. Now the water stands over here. This is the vlei, but the process is still going on. You remember the whole day you could still see the mountains. If you look back now, you cannot see mountains anymore because we see this long flat dune that is busy growing across. And within about another 500 years, again it will seal off the river. This all will die, and the new vlei will be where your truck is standing now. So therefore behind the dune at your truck, we call it future vlei. That will be the future Sossusvlei. If the water only comes here once in 10 years, then the plants must just have very deep roots to get the water. The only tree that can grow here, a camel thorn, Acacia irulova, easily grow with the roots 80 meters deep. The other plants, the green bushes that you see everywhere, ngara also grow with the roots 50 meters deep. The smaller plants, I show you later. Normally I walk very fast. Please don't run after me. Just take your own time, and I will just stop from time to time to point out some stuff. Okay. You're most welcome to take off your shoes. Nothing will bite or sting you. You just need to carry the shoes with. When we come back, the sand might be very, very hot. You can stand closer, please. You can please stand around me. I want to show you this. This is just a fruit of a small plant. I just picked it off there. If you want to have one of this, you can put it in front of your truck. You can do it for the rest of your tour every day. You can take one of this back home, and when your friends will come and visit you, you can do that. One fruit will do it easily 20, 30 times. In the desert, a plant cannot release a seed. We had 5 years back, we had rain. Now many plants started to grow, and they cannot release the seed because we don't know when it will rain again. Maybe only 20 years from now. So the plants need to keep the seed, and when it rains 20 years from now, immediately they need to release the seed. This plant is totally dead. If somebody just have me a drop of water, please. we can just put on a drop and you can just see what happens. There comes the drop. Thank you very much.
We will miss it later.
All what you need, like I say, you can take some of this, you can do it for yourself. All what you need is just one small drop of water. That's enough. Thank you very much. Sorry, it's not close. Okay, now I know you want it to jump open, but if it jumps open, the seeds will jump out and therefore a bit slower they start to open. On the inside you have 5 small strings. The day when the fruit is getting dry, the string is getting shorter and it closes and it keeps the seeds safe inside. Now when it rains, the string absorbs the water and slowly it pushes open and the seeds becomes available. If no rain comes anymore, within 1 hour they will just get closed, they get dry, they close and they keep the seeds safe inside. 20 years later, when it really rains, comes the first drop. The first drop opens. The second drop falls from high up in the sky on this trampoline, and the trampoline shoots everything in different directions, and 3 days later everything starts to be green. Therefore, many people in Africa believe that if it rains, it also rains seeds, because they don't see anything, and 3 days later everything starts to be green. If the plant grows, we call it a salt salad. You can eat it, it gives a very nice taste, a salt sour taste. You also do get a lot of water when the plant grows from the plant, and from there we call it a salt salad because of the salt sour taste. But you can keep this, and before we are back at the vehicle, then it will be closed again. You can put on a drop of water and one fruit will do it easily 20-30 times. We have many plants working like this.
What sort of a plant is that?
That's
Like, which one is it?
This is a succulent. This is the bush over here.
Okay.
So if you want to have some of them, don't take it now. Otherwise, anyway, we are going to do a lot of things and roll down the dunes and that. So rather when we come back, please ask me and I help you to find one of them. Like I say, if you're allowed, you can take one back home. When your friends come and visit you, put on a drop of water, one do it easily 20-30 times. I'll just show you a bit of footprints. I'll show you more footprints. First of all, the footprint of a jackal. A jackal, definitely in the soft sand, very difficult to say, because if you see the footprint, you must first tell whether there are nails. If it's nails, it's a dog, a jackal. If there are no nails, of course it is a cat. But there you can see, as he was running at one spot, his nail actually pulled on the sand, and there you see really the mark of the nail. I will show you, if I get better footprints, also show you the footprints of that. Then the footprint of a springbok. A springbok cannot walk in the dunes. A springbok has a small hoof, then he sinks into the sand, so the springbok comes down the river and they go back in the river. The one that really goes over the dunes is the oryx, the gemsbok, because a gemsbok has a big hoof, and very important is the hoof have a hollow part at the bottom. That means when he walks, he traps the sand and he doesn't sink into the sand. A gemsbok, oryx, can also live his whole life, 25 years, without drinking any water. He can get everything only from the plants that I explain to you later. Then the footprints of a hare. The footprints that you see there on the lower part. If a hare, like a rabbit, if they run, they land on 3 and they kick themselves away with 1. So you see always 3 in the front, 1 at the back. There also on the dune you can see it very clearly. This hare running in this direction, 3 in the front and 1 at the back. Very easy to tell it's a hare. I will just show you more on footprints. Water. Not one of that is a problem to us. On a warm day, the sand goes up to 80 degrees, but only 30 centimeters deeper. It's a nice 25 degrees, and this is where everybody is now. In the morning at sunrise, everybody goes into the sand, and only tonight when the sun sets, only then they come to surface. To breathe under the sand is no problem. It is not dust, it is small grains of sand, and between the grain of sand are some oxygen. And now the nose of the lizard and the beetle just needs to be smaller than a grain of sand. He can go in and he can still breathe under the sand. If they come out in the night, they want to eat, and we think there's no food. But it rains at the mountains, and in winter time comes the strong sandstorms from the mountains. That breaks off the grass at the mountains. That grass blows into the desert and it come and lay on places like this. So this was not grain here, but that was blown in from the mountains, and this is the food for the beetle. Now the beetle also need water. That is also no problem, because the sea is only 55 kilometers from here, and in the night comes the fog from the sea. You just need to catch it. Everybody knows from the documentaries that some of the beetles stand with his head to the sea, water collects on his body and run down to his mouth. Not everybody can do it. If a beetle have a smooth body, everything run off on the sides. And therefore a beetle that want to do this needs to have channels on his body. And in the channels, the water runs to his mouth, where it collects, and he drinks it like this. If you take a beetle with his channels on his body, standing with his head to the sea, and you compare that with a person of 70 kilograms, that person need to drink 24 liters of water at once to get the same as the beetle. Now the beetle is nice and soppy. He's sucked out by the spider is eaten by the lizard by the snake by the snake eagle, and all the time the food and water goes on. What I tried to tell you, heat, no problem. Food, no problem. Water, no problem. It's a paradise and we have so much life. This one in my hand, Namib-Naukluft plana, started to live in the day, because in the night it is so busy. There's so much competition, there's not space for everybody. Therefore he started to live in the day. But in the day his feet burns on the warm sand, and this is why he started to run so very fast. So this one, Namib-Naukluft plana, is the fastest ground insect in the world. He runs a speed of about 5 kilometers per hour. You see the small footprints? He also goes very easy in the sand. You can just see if he doesn't want to go in. I think he's just looking for a place to go in.
Looking for shadows for me.
Just see if he doesn't want to go in first. No, he decided to run. Do you see the small bicycle tracks? The small bicycle tracks, you can look at them. We have 230 different species of these beetles. So they look totally different, and also their tracks are also totally different. Traps the sand. If you turn around the bucket, you can stand on the bucket will not sink in, because the bucket have that hollow part. And this is why you can really walk in the dunes. If you compare that with a springbok, you can see the springbok only 50 kilograms and see how deep he sinks in. So you cannot really walk in the dunes. If you quick look back, then you see this long dune that is going to seal off the riverbed in about another 500 years time. Then the vlei, the vegetation, the big trees that you see there, all will die. This same thing happened here 1,000 years back at the back, and this is where we are going to the vlei that is totally dead. This sand that comes and fills up everything is coming about 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers far. Because of erosion in South Africa, erosion at Fish River Canyon, sand washed to the sea. The current takes it, wash it up north, and between Luderans and Swakopmund is one of the beach. The wind gets it and blows it into the desert. But if you go to Swakop, you see in Swakop the sand is still white. And only when they blow in, they start to be red, because there's a lot of black in the dunes. The black is all iron. Very easy to prove to you. If you just take a magnet, any normal magnet, put it anywhere on the sand, and quick you collect a lot of iron. This iron is very much rusted. Rust have a red color. And if a small grain of white sand that you see in Swakop starts to blow into the desert, it blows so much over the iron, and the red color of the rust starts to give off on the small grain of white sand. The deeper it blows, the more it is painted, and thousands of years later it is not white anymore, but now it has a nice red color. The black that you see on the dunes is just a place where the iron lays very much together, and that gives the black color on the dunes. If you quick take away the magnet, then you just get the black color on the dunes. It's just a place where the iron lays very much together. And just to show you how strong it is, we can again bring the magnet closer and you can just see. You can still walk barefoot, even if the sand is 80 degrees. You must just see where you walk. A dune always have a warm and a cool side. If the sun strikes here 90 degrees, this becomes very hot, and just on the other side of the dune, it is nice and cool. The sun is not so strong. Don't walk on black places. This is like an iron sheet and gets very hot. Our dunes never move, they never change, because in the winter, the wind blows from the mountains. In the summer, the wind blows from the sea, and these two winds are 50-50 against each other. If the wind was only blowing from the sea, the dune will go to the mountains. But before he can move, it is winter and he comes back, and summer and winter, and therefore we call it blow sand dunes. The dune never changes, but there's a small change between summer and winter. If a dune stands like this, every day in winter the wind blows from the mountains, the top leans over and faces to the sea. Then it starts to be summer, every day the wind from the sea, and the top leans over and faces to the mountains. You can see this one, you can see all of them leans over to the mountains. Now the wind comes from the sea. So you don't need to have a compass to walk here. The dunes will always show you where to go. Friends, I hope you can see. To look at footprints, you need to have sun. If I ask a bit of sun, thank you very much. The footprints of a mouse. If a mouse runs, he lifts up his tail because you don't want to run with the handbrake on and you only see the dots in the sand. But when the mouse goes and he sits down, then he also put his tail down and you see the small line. So the dots he was just running and the line he was sitting. On a place like this, he was just going slowly and just pulling his tail after him. The sand is like a storybook and it tells you everything. I'll show you more footprints. This is how it runs. It's the two front feet like this, the back feet together, and therefore you see the three dots. That is one pop of the mouse. And then the footprint of a springbok. Remember, a springbok is only 50 kilograms. A gemsbok is 250 kilograms. So this is why this guy sinks in so much, and this is why he's dragging his feet. So a gemsbok cannot really walk in the dunes. A camel cannot walk in our desert. The German government imported camels to use them in the dunes. A camel cannot walk in our dunes. The dunes in the Sahara is smaller, harder, and the camel have a big hoof, but he's missing this hollow part, that bucket that you actually stand on. And also a camel needs to drink water, so a camel cannot walk in our dunes. Okay, the footprints of a hare. If a hare runs, he lands on three, he kicks himself away with one, and you always see 1, 2, 3 in the front and one at the back. Very easy to tell it's a hare. If an animal like a springbok, a gemsbok stands, they leave a lot of droppings that lays together. But a hare leave single droppings from time to time. Even as he runs, the droppings falls out. And you can see as this guy was running, there came a dropping. There you can see where the dropping was landing. So this guy was really running. The dropping just fell out. There it was falling, and it rolled over to here. The sand is like a storybook and tells you everything. On this walk, I also want to tell you a bit more about the last people, the Bushmen, the San people that used to live here before. These people were here about 90 years back, up to 1918. They were very small, about 1.5 meters high. They were yellow of color and they hunted with a small poison arrow. But a poison arrow could only reach about 10 meters far. That means the Bushman man, the hunter, need to crawl closer, that he lays within 5 meters from an animal behind a bush to be close enough to shoot it with a poison arrow. If there's no bush, you need to take out the bush and come with your own bush closer to the animal. But later they also started to shoot people, and when the first Dutch settled in South Africa 350 years back, they experienced big problems with small men shooting them from behind bushes with poison arrows, and they gave them the Dutch name Bushman, not for living in the bush, but small men that shoot you from behind bushes with poison arrows. To do this, you need to have a very good knowledge of nature, and therefore, as from a baby, the mother will start to teach her child. And the very first thing a mother will teach her child is that the child will recognize the mother on the footprint. That footprint is only mine. If you never saw your footprint, take off your shoes, step on the sand, only you have that footprint. Then we can split up. 5 years later, I walk here, I see your footprint, and I know you must be around because your footprint is here. If you don't have a wife, one day you walk and look at this lovely footprints, follow it and find yourself a wife. Between the Bushmen were no crime because the sand shows you everything. So if I go and I lay down, then all of you will see exactly what I was doing if I stand up. You can see as I was holding my hand, I supported myself, my leg was stretched. I don't have to explain to you. Everybody can see what I was doing, and everybody knows me on the footprint. Therefore, if I smoke a pipe with your wife, everybody see what was going on. They see on the footprints who were there, and no way out. So catch it on a passive way, and when you have it, don't cook it. Eat it raw, that you eat a nice juicy lizard. This one is small. I will try to get you a bigger, better lizard later. I just want to show you again. Yeah, there's also the footprints of a lizard. A lizard walked like this, so therefore that lizard went in that direction. And then again the footprints of a hare running this direction. Then she sat down. It was a female. You can see she sat down. If you can see why she sat down, she urinated, and very easy to tell it's a female. If it was a male, he will urinate more to the front. Of course, a female urinates more to the back. If it is a male, also with the animals you see that, they stand. The male urinates more straight, and the last drop falls in the center of the circle. A female, lower herself, it comes out with a lot of pressure. The pressure gets less to her body, and the last drop falls close to her body, and there you can see the last drop directly between her feet. So very easy to tell it's a female. Okay, just to give you a bit of guideline, if you look at the dune and you see yellow, it is not supposed to be there. This is only grass that grow there because of the rain. And if you see green, that is a real desert plant, because they can really live and still be green even after rain of 5 years that there's no rain. So a plant like that, this is the same plant, but we have many different ones. But a good example here, a Trianthema ururensis, also grows with a fork from the sea. The sea is only 55 kilometers from here, and in the night comes the fork, the moisture from the sea. You just need to catch it, the beetles, and the plant absorb it with the leaves, take it to the roots, and now you have a nice succulent in the dunes. And now come an animal like a gemsbok. He comes fast, he comes and eats on the plant, and you can just see what he gets. We can just take off the small part, we can just squeeze it, and you can just see what the gemsbok gets. So much water, but now there are a few secrets. If there's only one plant, there cannot be 10 animals. Therefore the gemsbok only stays on his own. But he cannot just live around here, then he have to eat on these plants every day. So he lives in a big area, and maybe once in a month he come back and he eat on the plant. If this is how he gets his food and water, he cannot use a lot of energy. And this is why he developed these two straight horns. They are 1.2 meters long, at the end as sharp as a needle. The animals with the most effective horns for defending. So why does he have to run away? If you come closer, he's not going to run away, then he anyway kill himself using all his energy. So he keeps the passive life and he waits for you. If you are 10 meters from him, he's not running away, but he lowers his head, he attacks you. You are running away, and the gemsbok still stands. Like that he can really live his whole life, 25 years, without tasting any water. But the Bushman could not get the water from the plant. This plant gives us diarrhea. We get it from the gemswol. After you shot the animal, first take your fingers, take out the eyes and eat the eyes. Cut it open in the front, drink the blood. If you eat the meat, don't cook it. Then you make it hard and dry. Eat it as raw as possible, that you eat nice juicy meat. So again, don't think about water, think about any sort of moisture. I must first of all warn you that it is not easy to take a photo. A video can work, but a photo will not really work. You don't need to jump. What we are looking at, the nest of a spider. The only place where a spider, you don't need to jump, he's not going to come out. You want to see this? The only place where a spider can live is in the sand. A spider has at the back of his body the two finger-like things, the spinnerets, and then he glue the sand together, and then he can lift a small ball of glue. But as he's digging, he's not getting anywhere. So therefore, later he takes his spinnerets and he supports the side walls, deeper side walls, and about 5 to 6 hours later, the spider sits about 30 centimeters deep. But the enemy will see the hole, sand will blow in, the sun will shine in, and therefore they make a door. The door will open with the wind, and therefore they put Velcro, just normal Velcro around, and the Velcro keep the door closed. I will try to open the door for you. It's not always that I can. If this one doesn't work, I try to find you another one. If you do see the spider, it's a big black spider like this. You don't need to go away. You really want to see this? So, no promises, not always that I can. I first just need to break this Velcro, and I hope I can open the door for you. Not always that I can, but it looks good. Okay. Because it's a black spider, it will be better if I take away the sun. I hope everybody can see this. I want to show you the spider. The spider will not come out, it is too dangerous outside, but he doesn't like sand in his nest. So if we throw in a bit of sand, hopefully he comes out to close the door. So just keep your eye on the nest, and you may for one moment see the spider coming and closing the door. Very difficult to take a photo, just keep your eye on the nest. It's not always that he comes from 2 meters deep. This one lives 2 meters deep, so therefore just keep your eye on the nest. If this one doesn't work, I try to find you another one.
Isn't it something?
Okay, this is about that.
How did you find it?
Well, there are a few different ways to find the nest. You may see a lot of beetles around the nest. You may see the tracks. This one, what you see, I actually saw that in the morning. A bit of, looks like glue, sand that's glued together. So a few different ways, but the most easy way to find it, a practice eye. This is, of course. I can tell you, if we go back, because a spider lives a life of 50 years, and as long as everything goes good, well, they live 50 years in the same nest. So on the way back close to your truck, I know about a very nice spider, that she is very active. Different spiders have different behaviors, and if you want to, we can quick, before I drop you off at the truck, quick stop, we get off, and with 5 minutes more, I show you another spider. Again, no promises. If it is there, I can show you. I just need to go in. There are many different ones, but I know that one is a good one to see. So I hope I can show you quick another one before we go back. The spider cannot come out to run around to hunt. It is just too dangerous on surface. But this is small grains of sand, and there's a lot of vibration boop, 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 in the dunes. Beetles look totally different. One beetle, maybe a black one, doof, 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 doof. A small blue one, ping, ping, ping. Another yellow one, poing, 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 poing. Another one, suck, 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 suck. And like that, a spider can tell within 3 meters from a nest which beetle is running past the nest. So if she eats big black beetles that go doof, doof, doof on the sand, and there she sits and she feels ping, ping and poing, poing and suck, suck, she doesn't come out because she doesn't eat ping ping and zak zak beetles. But when she feels the doof doof, she jumps out because she eats doof doof beetles. So jumps out, gets him, go back into the nest, and without spending time on surface. The male need to find a female, but how do you find her? So the only thing is, again, vibration. So the male runs, and about every meter he does a tap dance. So he runs tap it up, tap it up, tap 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 through the dunes. The female have 3 meters to come and 3 meters to go, that she can decide she likes his tap dance or not. If not, she jumps, she just ignores him. If yes, she jumps out, she mates with him, he tap 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 through the dunes, and she go back into the nest. Then at about December, January, now this time, they may have babies in the nest. She lay about 80 eggs. The most of the eggs will hatch, and then you have the small spiderlings in the nest. It is nice to see them. If you take a mirror, you can look down and you actually see the babies running like children. They chase each other, but they also do eat each other. And she also eats some of them, and after about 6 weeks, only about 12 of them is going out. Of that 12, that is the most dangerous time in their life, being out on their own. And only about 3 or 4 of them will be adult spiders one day. If you don't see the nest, if you step on the nest, it is no problem. The sand is off and you just step it deeper in the sand. In the night she comes and she just fixes the nest again. Remember, a gemsok is 200 kilograms and he also steps on the nest. If you come with a 4x4, you spin so much, and if you haven't killed a spider yet, then you make it so compact and the spider can never come to surface again. So walking is no problem, but driving is a big problem for the life. Yourself in a ball, and the ball run down the dune. He cannot live here. His ball cannot run anywhere here. You find there next to dune 45, you find them there on that dune where there's a nice angle, and when there is a danger, he runs, he rolls himself in a ball, and there goes the ball down the dune, and he escapes the enemy like this. So everybody has his own place where he wants to live. We know about the nest now, so please don't step on the nest. You can go down and take your photos. You can leave your backpack, everything, your shoes, everything here. The sand won't be that hot that you need shoes when you come back. So you can leave your shoes, everything over here, and we meet here again. Before you go down, I just quick explain. I want you to quick look back, and then you see the Vlei. The vegetation in the middle of the desert, this we call the Vlei. And here in front of us, then the old Vlei of 1,000 years back. The last water came in 1,000 years back. We needed to come over this dune because this dune 1,000 years back totally sealed the river. The groundwater table dropped, everything died, and the trees that you see there are dead 600 to 900 years. If you eat a banana and you throw away the peel, today the banana peel will dry out so much. There's no moisture and it cannot rot, and a banana peel stay 30 years in the desert. And orange peel about 60 to 80 years. For the same reason the trees are still standing after they died 600 to 900 years. So if you go down, don't touch the trees very hard, otherwise you may get splinters in your hand. The last water came in 1,000 years back. From the right hand side, it flooded in and it was standing in front of the big dune. And this is why there are no trees in front of the dune. But now for 1,000 years, no water comes here anymore. And this is why a new dune started to build. And this is why we see two separate places. There are already trees buried under the sand. That dune is busy growing, all the dunes are busy growing. And say 700-800 years from now, this everything will be filled with sand. So if you can take away the dunes from here to the sea, under the dunes must be a lot of sceneries like this, because it was all riverbed filled up so much that today we are 55 kilometers away from the sea. In the desert it's very difficult to tell distance and depth. From where the white starts up to the big dune is 1.3 kilometers. The trees only stand in 400 meters, and from the last tree you still need to walk 900 meters to get to the dune. The dune is only a baby, only 220 meters. You can see a person sitting on top of the dune. That is only 220 meters. Dune 45 only 120 meters, and the big ones there far at the back, 350 meters. They cannot grow any further. Up there the winds are very strong and keep them on 350 meters. And a big dune like that, we call it a matured dune, is fully grown. There's no space for sand anymore. If you have seen the film from Jennifer Lopez, The Cell, then you remember the place. At the back you see a tall dead tree standing next to green bushes. Just to the left of that lays a tree down like a lobster, like a crayfish, and this is where Jennifer Lopez was playing with a small boy in the film The Cell. You can leave everything here. Please don't spend so much time. We do have plenty time, but the sun is getting hot. 20 minutes, please, not longer than half an hour, and we can just meet here again. Don't just turn around in the front, walk deep in the place. It's a lovely place. Just remember, don't touch the trees very hard, otherwise you may get splinters in the hand. Backpacks, everything you can leave here, it is very, very safe. It is almost impossible to rain in the desert. Yeah, the winds come from the sea and they actually push away the clouds. And it is actually, we had this rain of 5 years back, and otherwise we don't really think of rain close by. Yeah. I can quickly explain you about the trees that are still alive. The trees didn't really die because the water was not coming here, because that is camels on trees and not growing on surface water but growing on underground water. After the place was totally sealed off, then also the groundwater table started to drop. And this is why the old trees died first, about 900 years back. Because the old tree doesn't make new roots, he just dies. But about 600 years back, the groundwater was so deep that even the young trees died because of no water. It was just too deep. But then about 300 years back, more floods came down. The groundwater table filled up again. Not only there, but also here under the dunes. And that means a new tree could start to grow again. A gemsbok ate the fruit of a camel's on tree. In his droppings, he carried some seeds over the dunes. It rained, the seeds started to grow, they found the groundwater, and there they are still standing today. Young trees of about 300 years old, a camel thorn reached a life of about 800 years. So that green trees is from a total different era than the dead trees. The dead trees are dead 600 to 900 years. Okay, enjoy it. Lizard is something very good to eat, but there's no use to run after a lizard and you use more energy than what you get back. So catch it on a passive way. I was standing on that side, but there came a lizard and I believe he went into the sand. I didn't see himself, but we can just see if he is not there. And there's the lizard. Okay. Very easy. The only problem is, now we are 25 people and I have to share with 25 people. So catch it on a passive way. If you have it, don't cook it, then you make it hard and dry. So eat it as raw as possible. Nice juicy lizard. First of all, you see a very sharp nose.
Awesome.
The nose, the nostril, is smaller than a grain of sand and it can still breathe on the sand. This lizard lives between the bushes, so he runs to the bush and then he goes into the sand. Different lizards catch on different ways. The big problem is only if you catch the lizard, we have 25 people to eat, so always the smaller the group, the better the chance to survive.
So you cut the head, yeah? Or do
Yeah, you can
the
just squeeze the head, you don't need to take out anything, just squeeze the head and swallow it. A snake swallow it head first, so just swallow it head first, it is streamlined like that. This is Morolus coneirostris. If you want to touch him, you can just touch him. I will bring him around. You can just touch him with the fingers. He's quite soft. He needs to be soft to go quick into the sand. Thank you.
You gonna eat it now?
Sometimes he bites. We can see if he doesn't want to bite. No.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh God.
Ooh!
There you go, just back in. You can just take your hat, throw your hat in the air, he thinks it's a bird, and he will just dive in the sand. You see the lizard? Yeah. Okay, I can catch him for you. You see it? Yeah. Okay, and you see if there comes a bird? Very easy. Total different one, much sharper nose.
Yeah.
I want you to touch this one. The other one was quite rough because he first ran to the bush and then he go into the sand. This one need to be very, very smooth that he can go quick into the sand. Okay. I want you to touch this one. Really baby skin.
Oh, yeah, oh gosh, he's around. Yeah.
Really interesting, eh?
We'll eat that one then. No.
You can also eat it.
Is he as tasty?
Well, I think this one is more tasty. The bird eats the plant and he gets you this water from here. This is the Thema hierorensis that I squeezed for you. It's very important to use selective grazing. This bush is quite full of water. You may pass some of them that have no water. If a gemsok eats that, he needs to drink water because he eats that and he needs to get it through his body. With this one, of course, he doesn't use any water at all. So again, we can just see how nice soppy it is. We can just take off a piece of this and we can just squeeze it and you can just see all this water. So no problem, and this is where the animals gets his water. So we don't want rain. Rain makes the sand hard. No one can go in and out. Rain replaces oxygen by water. No one can breathe under the sand. If you step on him, if a gemsok step on him in soft sand, it is no problem. Hard sand, you will kill him. So for many reasons we don't want rain, but we want to have the fog. The fog comes in the night, and in the night there's no sun, it doesn't evaporate, they can really absorb it, and then you have the nice succulent, and after that comes the gemsok that gives it over to the Bushman that used to live here before. The beetle gives it to spiders, scorpion, lizard, snake, and all the time it goes like this. But this is a real desert plant. We only have sand, we don't have any landmarks. But because the dunes never change, we can use the dunes as landmarks. If you drive back now 30 kilometers from here, you go through the river and there is the first of the big blow sand dunes, and there they started to number 1, 2, 3, 4. We carry on. The first triangle at the end of this long dune, that is number 16. The big one to the left behind the white, number 17. The big triangle in front of us, number 18. The big one behind the vehicles that looks like a lizard, tail this way, number 19, and like that there are 28 dunes numbered. Then they started on that side, 29, 30, 31, like that they come to 44, 45, 46, 47, and like that there are 63 dunes numbered. 1979, this became a national park. They put up the campsite, and by coincidence the campsite was 45 kilometers from dune number 45. And this is why the guidebook tells you 45 because of the kilometer, but it has nothing to do 45 because of the number. A dune has a slope 17 degrees and a slip face of 35 degrees. Loose sand cannot stand more than only 35 degrees. It can be only 35 degrees. So there's the slip face, the slope, and there's the slip face in front of us. We can just go closer. Looks more, but it can be anything.
And on top you have much more iron.
Yeah.
Or magnetite. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. The iron is quite a lot of magnetite, but actually the wind blows away the top grain and the heavier parts lays in. The sand is very safe. You can run, you can roll, you can swim as you want to. We don't do sandboarding. In Swakop you go from one dune into another one. Here you strike that on 80 kilometers per hour. You don't need to be afraid. You can run, roll, swim as you want to. If you want to dive in water, you dive 90 degrees. On sand, you dive with the angle of the sand. Our vehicle is standing there at the trees, so we are going down here. You can roll, you can sit, you can just slide down, you can walk there, you can run, you can dive, you can swim as you want to. If you want to give me your backpack, I will carry your stuff and you can run and roll down. You don't need to be afraid. Do you want me to carry yourself? I'll carry for you.
Okay, who's the next one?
Can I carry for you?
I'm going.
Roll, whatever.
You're most welcome. If you want to dive, just dive with the angle.
Okay.
Ready?
Anybody else that wants me to carry stuff?
You want to, yeah. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Can you give me some stuff? Nobody else going to take it. Sunglasses. You put them there. I don't want to.
That's fun. Thanks a lot.
Okay, you're welcome.
Very good.
Okay, I picked up the magnet.
To send.
The men had a small guy and a woman a small skirt. If you have a bed, a pot, a pan, a blanket, a jacket, a house, and a hunter shoots a gemswok, a Dune 45, how do you get there with your bed and pot and pan, and you must die with your stuff? The people that have nothing, they can carry on to life. Might be that we haven't eaten for 3 days. After 4 days somebody shoots a gemswok, there lays a big gemswok, and we don't know when we will eat again. And therefore the Bushmen developed a very loose skin around the stomach that while they had the meat, they could eat as much as possible. Believe it or not, it was for a Bushman very easy to eat about 10 kilograms of meat per day. Impossible. Even the local people gave the Bushmen the name Senkwa. Senkwa means people like animals, and from there we get the word San, what we call the Bushmen today. Let me just give you some benefits of eating so much. In the sun the meat goes bad, in your stomach it doesn't go bad. If you want to carry it with, it is difficult on your shoulder and easy in your stomach. If you sleep next to the meat, comes the jackal in the night, it takes it away from you. Once in your stomach, the jackal cannot take it away from you. So for good reasons, they lived like this. They had one big competition, and that was the vultures. Now somebody shoots a gemswok at Dune 45. He cannot bring the animal here. We need to go to Dune 45, where the gemswok is laying. So if the hunter comes running back and he say, you must be quick, I shot a gemswok. Sorry, we cannot wait for anybody. If somebody in a group starts to get sick, weak or old, we cannot wait for grandmother. If we have to wait for grandmother, all of us die with grandmother. So there comes the day that you have no other choice than to leave grandmother behind, that she dies on her own, and at least we can survive. If I see it a few times in my life, it starts to be a lifestyle. But every year is not easy. There are also very difficult, very dry years. And in years like this, we already left the sick, the weak and the old people behind. Now there are still people keeping the group back. And this we all know are the women with the small children. Because a woman with a child cannot walk fast. You cannot allow that a small child keep a woman back and the woman die with a child. So there comes the day that you have no other choice than to leave some of the children behind, that the woman can walk faster. Anyway, she can just have another child again when things is going better. If the Bushmen had to leave some children behind, they would rather leave the baby girl and take the baby boy. Because the baby boy is the hunter of tomorrow. Tomorrow you have 5 men looking for after one woman, and she can raise one baby successfully. So everybody just saw the Bushmen as animals. No one could think that these people could live like this, leaving their children behind in the desert, sleep without a blanket on a cold night, eat 10 kilograms of meat per day. And therefore in 1928, if you went to Etosha, it was a good visit to Etosha, not when you saw lions, but when you saw Bushmen. And everybody was so afraid of them. You never know when there's a Bushman behind the bush, ready to shoot us with his poison arrow. And therefore in 1920, Namibia, Botswana, Angola and South Africa, you could still freely hunt Bushman. Later you were not allowed to shoot a Bushman, but you needed a license or a permit to shoot a Bushman. Everybody hunted the Bushman, not only Western people. Long time back, before the first Western people came here, it was also the local people of the mountains to come to shoot Bushmen. If there's water, the Bushman will come out of the dunes. And of course the Bushmen had to defend themselves against the people from the mountains, from behind the bushes. They shot the brown people with the poison arrows. They killed everybody, and not one went back to tell what happened. And therefore that people of the mountains never wanted to come here anymore. Everybody that ever came here just disappeared in the sand. And therefore they gave this place the name Sossus. You must put a T in the front and you get the word Sossus. That means the place where people disappear in the sand. But remember, we cannot say the name of the green bush, Ngara. We just talk about Nara. We cannot say Sossus, and we just talk about Sossus. But it comes from Sossus, the place where people disappear in the sand. Now yeah, so much more to tell, so much more to show. Unfortunately, that was the time, and that was my story for the day. There's the vehicle, I have to take you back. But like I promised, we can quick look and see if we can see the spider. If we see that spider, it is a very nice one. I hope, no promises, but I hope I can show it to you. Maybe at the back you don't see so good. You can come closer, please. The front ones can kneel. I want you to see my figure. There's also good places over here. Everybody happy that you can see? If you cannot see my finger good, then you please place yourself that you can see. Everybody happy? And I say again, it's not easy to take a photo. There's the door, the spider. Like I say, spiders have totally different behaviors. And this is quite a aggressive spider. This. Just need to break this Velcro, then I can just unlock the door.
Wow.
That's a big
It's quite a big spider. This one is actually bigger than the other one. Maybe, yeah. Okay, I hope you can see. Everybody happy? Yeah. Throw in a bit of sand, no promises. But I know this one is quite active. Just keep your eye. Again, remember they come from 2 meters deep. So just keep your eye on the nest. No promises, not always that they come. Unfortunately, this is what I can show you. But yeah. I say again, what I said to you, everybody is about 30 centimeters in the sand. So if you can take these dunes and like you peel a banana or an orange with a knife, if you peel that 30 centimeters deep, then you really get to the life about 30 centimeters. So today you walk over scorpions, spiders, snakes, everything in the sand, they won't come out. Even if you jump, you never go in 30 centimeters. But yeah, I hope you saw the place better.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Would he be like sewing that hole up again now, or would he do that later?
No, now is the one. He cannot come close to surface. He cannot, he will do it tonight. And tomorrow morning it will look like that. He's seen one that's in the nest.